12 million travelers a month are about to face a border check they have never seen before. Starting in April 2026, stamping a passport in Europe will be obsolete. It will be replaced by compulsory face scans, fingerprint templates, and digital identity approval for anyone crossing into 30 countries. If you are a tourist, a business flyer, or even just passing through, this new hidden rule is about to change every step of your journey. Who will clear security and who gets stopped may never be the same. The countdown has already started, but what exactly is being captured and who is at risk? Approaching the border in 2026, travelers will no longer hand over a passport for stamping. Instead, the process begins at a biometric kiosk or e-gate. The system prompts the traveler to position their face in front of a camera. In a matter of seconds, a high-resolution facial image is captured. Next, the kiosk requests fingerprints, usually all 10, scanned simultaneously on a glass panel. The system checks for clear prints and asks for a redo if any finger is not properly registered. Once both face and fingerprints are captured, the kiosk automatically links these biometrics to the traveler's passport number, document type, and issuing country. The system also logs the exact date, time, and location of the border crossing. This entire process, from the first face scan to final confirmation, typically takes under a minute for most users. The data captured is not just stored as raw images. Instead, the system creates mathematical templates of each face and fingerprint. These templates are unique digital signatures designed to match the traveler on any future trip. The system then checks these templates against watch lists and previous travel records in real time. If everything matches, the traveler receives a green light to proceed. If not, the system flags the entry for manual review by a border officer. For first-time travelers, this is the only point where full biometric enrollment is required. On future visits, the process is even faster. Facial recognition alone can clear a returning traveler in seconds, using the stored template for instant comparison. The switch to digital templates means the border decision is made automatically, with no need for manual inspection unless there is a mismatch or missing data. For millions of travelers, the entire record of entry and exit now lives in a secure, centralized database. No more ink stamps, no paper trail, just a digital footprint that starts the moment you step up to the kiosk. October 12th, 2025. That is when the countdown begins. On this date, the entry and exit system quietly activates at select European border points. For travelers, the change is almost invisible at first. Just a handful of airports and land crossings using new biometric kiosks. But every week, more locations switch over. By November, at least 10% of border crossings in every participating country are operating the system. Lines start to build at major hubs as travelers, border staff, and airlines adjust to the new flow. Pressure mounts through the winter. Airlines issue fresh warnings, allow extra time, check your passport, expect delays at unfamiliar e-gates. By January 2026, half of all border points are running the entry and exit system, with millions of travelers now enrolled in the system. The familiar passport stamp is already disappearing at the busiest airports. For some, the process is seamless. Face, fingerprints, done. For others, especially first-timers or those with older documents, the experience is slower and sometimes frustrating. April 10th, 2026. This is the deadline. Every external border of the Schengen area, airports, seaports, land crossings, must process all eligible travelers through the entry and exit system, no exceptions. From this point, manual stamping ends. The digital record is the only proof of entry and exit. Even smaller border posts and rural crossings are now online, and the system covers 30 countries from Portugal to Norway. For travelers planning trips in spring or summer 2026, the message is clear: there is no going back. The rollout is complete, and biometric border control is now the rule, not the exception. Miss the deadline and you risk confusion, denied boarding, or being turned away on arrival. The clock is ticking, and every international traveler must adapt because the border has changed for good. Not every traveler is swept into the new system. The entry-exit system draws a clear legal line, and it applies to anyone classified as a third country national. Third country nationals are the core group under this rule. In practice, that means citizens of countries outside the European Union and the Schengen area, including the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, Australia, Japan, and dozens more. Outside nations are the focus. Whether arriving for business, tourism, or family visits, these travelers must enroll their biometrics if their stay is short, up to 90 days in any 180-day period. Biometrics enrollment is required for short stays. The system captures every entry and exit, calculating the exact number of days spent inside Schengen borders. It records arrivals and departures to determine your total stay. Exact counting is automatic. Visa-exempt travelers who previously entered Europe with only a passport are now required to enroll their biometrics at the border. This is a major change for passport-only travel. Required biometric checks now apply. Short-stay visa holders whose trips are capped at that same 90-day window are also included. Short-stay visas do not avoid the rule. The rule does not distinguish between nationalities on a visa waiver list and those who need a visa. If the visit is temporary, the system applies. There is no distinction for temporary visits. There are a few exceptions. Citizens and residents of European Union and Schengen countries are not subject to entry-exit system checks. Exceptions exist for EU citizens and residents. Dual nationals with a European Union passport can bypass the system by using their European document. Using the European passport is a valid alternative. Cyprus and Ireland, for now, continue manual stamping and do not participate in the entry-exit system. Manual stamping remains in those two countries. Manual stamping continues. Certain categories, such as holders of diplomatic passports, official delegations, and some long-term visa holders, may be exempt, but these are rare cases and typically require special documentation at the border. Diplomatic and official delegations are limited exemptions. For everyone else, the legal trigger is simple. Planning a short stay in Europe without European Union citizenship or residency means mandatory entry-exit system enrollment. Mandatory enrollment applies. Whether flying in for a weekend conference, a family holiday, or a semester abroad, the system will log your arrival, your biometrics, and your departure. The system will record your full travel pattern. Logging happens at entry and exit. The rule that limits stays to 90 days in any 180-day period is enforced digitally. Overstaying, even by a single day, is automatically registered. Enforcement is digital and immediate. For millions of travelers, this is now the baseline for crossing a European border. No exceptions for age, purpose, or frequency of travel. Baseline rules now govern crossings. The rule is written into European Union law. Starting April 2026, it applies at every external border, every time. Starting April 2026, compliance is required. A family of 4 steps off a flight from Chicago, ready for their European vacation. At the border, they approach the new biometric kiosks. Each person, including the youngest child, goes through the same routine: face scan, fingerprints, passport check. The process is quick, but for the parents, it is a different world from their last trip. There is no more ink stamp, no border officer flipping through pages. Instead, the system records their entry, creates a digital signature, and logs the date and time. Their data is now part of the centralized record, ready for instant matching on their return journey. A business traveler flying in from Tokyo for a quarterly meeting lines up at the E-Gate. It is her 3rd trip this year. On her first visit, she spent extra minutes at the kiosk for fingerprints, a face scan, and a new digital record. Now, the gate recognizes her almost instantly. The facial recognition system pulls her stored template, matches it to her passport, and clears her in seconds. She moves through the border without speaking to an officer. For frequent flyers, the system promises speed. Once enrolled, each entry is almost automatic, but the convenience comes with a digital trail. Every trip, every date, every crossing is logged for 3 years. Flight crews face their own version of the new process. Non-EU airline staff, especially those without a crew member certificate, must enroll just like passengers. Before each layover, they line up at the kiosks, scan their face and fingers, and wait for approval. For crews flying multi-leg routes through Europe, this can mean repeated enrollments and checks, especially if their documents or schedules change. Airlines have started to warn crew to budget extra time, as the old expedited crew lanes no longer guarantee a bypass. Crew and enrollment will now factor into planning. For these high-volume travelers, families, business professionals, and airline crews, the new border rule is not just a technical upgrade. It is a change in daily routine. The first enrollment takes the longest. After that, each return is faster, but it always leaves a digital footprint. The system promises efficiency, but also demands compliance. Forgetting to enroll, losing track of the 90-day limit, or missing a fingerprint scan can mean delays or denied entry. The experience is shaped by frequency. The more you travel, the more the system recognizes you, and the more data it collects. Every journey is logged, every minute at the border measured, and every traveler's record stored, ready for instant recall on their next trip. British travelers now face a border system that treats them like any other non-EU visitor. Biometric checks, face and fingerprint scans are the new standard. Yet not all UK nationals are subject to the same rules. Those holding a withdrawal agreement residence card, proof of legal EU residency before Brexit, are officially exempt from EES registration. In practice, this exemption is inconsistently applied. Some arrive with the correct card only to meet border officers unfamiliar with the details. Others, missing the precise document or encountering staff unsure of the rules, are sent through the full biometric process regardless of their legal status. Delays and confusion follow, even for those who have done everything right. For most, the new system is unavoidable. Retirees visiting family, students heading abroad, children on school trips, all must submit to biometric capture. The process makes no distinction for age or purpose. Parents coax toddlers to place tiny fingers on scanners, sometimes struggling with a child too young to understand. There is no official minimum age for biometric collection, and staff interpret the rules as they see fit. Infants may be photographed, while fingerprints are waived only if technically impossible. Each family faces its own moment of uncertainty at the checkpoint. Elderly travelers encounter different obstacles. Arthritis can make it hard to hold fingers steady on glass panels. Wrinkles and scars confuse facial recognition software, leading to repeated failures. Each failed scan means waiting for a manual override, with anxiety rising as the queue builds behind them. A 78-year-old who once crossed borders with ease now faces a system built for efficiency, not accessibility. When the technology cannot capture a clear print or match a face, the traveler is pulled aside for manual inspection, risking missed connections and mounting stress. The digital divide creates further barriers. ETIAS, set to follow EEES, requires online pre-approval. Those without smartphones, reliable internet, or digital skills, often the elderly, rural residents, or people with disabilities, find themselves excluded. There is no paper alternative, no option to enroll at a consulate. A retiree in rural Wales, unable to navigate the online portal, may be unable to visit grandchildren in Portugal. Advocacy groups warn that millions of Europeans over 65 lack regular internet access, and digital exclusion is highest among those with health or mobility challenges. Consent and data protection remain murky. Parents must approve biometric collection for children, but border officers rarely explain the process or data rights. Vulnerable adults receive little guidance. If someone objects to biometric capture, refusal means denial of entry. There is no opt-out, no alternative route. Edge cases like these are not rare. They represent millions of journeys each year, each with its own risks and uncertainties. As digital border control expands, these complications move from the margins to the center, raising questions about who is truly served by the new system. Airport terminals across Europe are undergoing their most expensive transformation in decades. Every external border crossing, airports, seaports, and land routes faces a strict mandate. Install biometric electronic gates and self-service kiosks capable of capturing faces and fingerprints by April 2026. Facilities managers are racing against the clock, coordinating with technology vendors and construction crews to retrofit passport control zones that were never designed for this level of automation. The cost is staggering. Industry estimates put capital investment in the hundreds of millions of euros across 30 participating countries. Major hubs like Frankfurt, Paris, Charles de Gaulle, and Amsterdam Schiphol have already torn out rows of manual booths, replacing them with banks of glass-walled electronic gates and touchscreen kiosks. Smaller regional airports, often with limited budgets and older infrastructure, face greater challenges, squeezing in new hardware where space is tight and wiring is outdated. The new system demands more than hardware. Border agencies are retraining thousands of officers, not only to assist travelers at the kiosks, but to troubleshoot biometric failures and to oversee the digital enrollment process. For months, airports must run dual-track operations, manual stamping for travelers at exempt borders like Ireland and Cyprus, full EES for everyone else. That means hiring extra staff, updating shift rosters, and preparing for technical teething problems as old and new systems run in parallel. IT teams are laying down a new digital backbone behind the scenes. Every kiosk and electronic gate must connect to the central EES database in real time, requiring secure high-speed networks and robust backup systems. System downtime is not an option. A single network failure could strand thousands of travelers in minutes. Vendors promise performance, but airports are quietly stress testing their systems, running drills to spot bottlenecks before the summer travel crush. For every facility manager, the message is clear: miss the deadline and risk chaos at the border. The pressure and the cost are measured in millions. Airlines are now on the front line of border compliance. Before a traveler even steps onto a plane bound for Europe, carrier systems must connect directly to the entry and exit system, EES, and once live, the ETIAS database. This is no longer a routine passport check. Every passenger's details, passport number, date of birth, and travel authorization are automatically cross-checked against some central databases in real time. If a query comes back with a mismatch, expired document, or missing ETIAS approval, the airline is legally required to deny boarding. No override, no exceptions. This pre-boarding screening is not optional. European regulations hold airlines legally liable for any traveler who arrives at the border without proper EES or ETIAS clearance. The penalties are steep: fines for each non-compliant passenger, plus the cost of repatriation if someone is refused entry. For major carriers, especially those operating high-frequency routes between North America, Asia, and Europe, the risk is measured in millions each year. Compliance officers monitor every flight manifest, running batch queries through the carrier interface before issuing boarding passes. The process is seamless when systems work as designed. Digital clearance returns in seconds and boarding proceeds. But when the interface lags or the central system is down, flights risk cascading delays. Airline staff must resolve issues on the spot, often with little support from border authorities or database administrators. The legal burden falls squarely on the carrier. A single missed check can trigger regulatory action. For travelers, this means the border now begins at the departure gate. A denied boarding notice is not just a technical glitch. It is the result of a failed compliance check, and the airline is required by law to enforce it. As the April 2026 deadline arrives, every international flight to Europe is governed by this new workflow. The stakes are high: one failed query, one missing biometric record, and both passenger and carrier pay the price. At Frankfurt and Schiphol, the first week of full biometric border checks brought the system's promises and its limits into sharp focus. By the second day, queues at major airports stretched far beyond the new E-gate lines, spilling into the main concourses. Processing times for first-time enrollees regularly doubled from the projected 3 to 5 minutes, with some travelers stuck at kiosks for over 12 minutes. Operations supervisors scrambled to manage the crowd flow as partial gate availability, caused by technical glitches and incomplete installations, forced thousands into manual fallback lines. System logs from Paris Charles de Gaulle recorded a spike in failed fingerprint captures, especially during peak morning arrivals. When a scanner failed to register a print, the entire process stalled, sometimes requiring 3 or more attempts per traveler. Facial recognition timeouts added to the bottleneck, particularly when lighting conditions varied or travelers wore glasses. Supervisors on the ground reported that in the first week, up to 15% of biometric kiosks were temporarily offline at any given hour, either for recalibration or troubleshooting. For border staff, the pressure was relentless. Every missed scan meant a call for manual override, pulling officers away from other duties and slowing the entire checkpoint. Travelers vented their frustration on social media, posting photos of snaking lines and warning others to budget hours, not minutes, for border clearance. Airlines fielded a surge of complaints from passengers who missed connections or were denied boarding due to unresolved EES registration issues. By the end of the first week, airport operations teams had logged hundreds of incident reports tied directly to EES performance. Supervisors flagged the need for more staff at peak times and faster technical support for malfunctioning kiosks. The numbers told the story. Average wait times at major hubs ran 2 to 3 times higher than forecast, and the system's promise of seamless processing was, for now, outpaced by the reality of growing pains. The rollout was not just a technical upgrade, it was a live stress test, exposing every weak link as international travel surged toward the summer season. Every biometric scan at the border feeds a growing digital archive. For non-EU travelers entering the Schengen area, each face and fingerprint template is stored in a central database managed by national border agencies and coordinated through EULISA, the European IT Authority. This is not a short-term record. For most travelers, the data lives in the system for 3 years after their last crossing, whether that is a single vacation or dozens of business trips. In cases where someone overstays their permitted time, the retention period jumps to 5 years, locking their biometric and travel history in the system for future enforcement. The reach of this archive extends far beyond a single country. Every Schengen member state has access to the full record, entry and exit logs, passport details, biometric templates across all participating borders. Law enforcement agencies like Europol and Frontex are also authorized to query the system for investigations tied to terrorism, organized crime, or irregular migration. A scan at a Paris airport can be checked by authorities in Warsaw, Lisbon, or Helsinki within seconds, no matter where the original record was created. Under EU data protection law, travelers have the right to request access to their stored data, correct errors, or ask for deletion. But these rights are limited. If a traveler is flagged for overstay, or if their data is needed for ongoing investigations, deletion requests can be denied. The data is held as long as the enforcement window remains open. Each country manages its own process for handling requests, creating uneven experiences and limited transparency for travelers trying to understand who holds their information and how it is used. The system is designed to comply with the General Data Protection Regulation, but the EES operates under special exemptions. National security and border management needs override some standard protections, allowing extended retention and broader sharing than most private companies could claim. The result is a surveillance footprint that covers more than 200 million border crossings a year, with personal biometrics and travel movements accessible to dozens of agencies across Europe. For travelers, the digital record created at the border is not just a tool for faster processing, it is a long-lasting entry in a continent-wide database available for years after the journey ends. For millions of travelers, the promise of seamless border crossings in 2026 comes with a hidden catch. The system is only as fair as its algorithms. Behind the scenes, biometric matching does not work equally well for everyone. The National Institute of Standards and Technology found that some facial recognition systems misidentify certain groups up to 100 times more often than others. For travelers with darker skin, women, and the elderly, the odds of a false match are dramatically higher. These are not just numbers. They translate into real consequences at the border. A single mismatch can mean hours of questioning, missed flights, or even denial of entry. The system rarely explains why. Fingerprint scanners, too, have blind spots. About 2 to 5% of people have fingerprints that are unreadable by standard sensors. Manual laborers, the elderly, and anyone with worn or scarred fingertips are especially at risk. When a fingerprint fails to register, the system demands repeat scans. If it still cannot capture a match, the traveler is pulled aside for manual inspection. The process is slow and stressful, and sometimes ends with a missed connection or a denied trip altogether. Unreadable fingerprints are a real barrier. The impact is not spread evenly. Studies show that travelers from African, Middle Eastern, and East Asian backgrounds are flagged for false matches far more often than their white counterparts. Women, especially women of color, face higher error rates. Age adds another layer. Older travelers are more likely to have both facial recognition and fingerprint failures. For families, the risk is not just personal. A parent flagged for a mismatch can find their entire group delayed with no clear way to contest the result on the spot. Disproportionately affected communities face the worst disruption. If you are wrongly singled out by the system, the path to correction is murky. There is no single appeals process across Europe. Each country handles complaints differently, and few offer clear instructions or quick remedies. A traveler stuck in limbo may have to file paperwork, wait weeks for a reply, or never hear back at all. In the meantime, the digital record remains. For the unlucky few, a single error can follow them for years, locked into a database that is nearly impossible to correct. Murky procedures leave people with little recourse. The promise of fast, automated borders comes with a human cost. 2026 could deliver speed, but only if accuracy and redress are fixed first. Travelers, advocacy groups, and governments need clear standards, transparent audits, and simple routes to correct errors before automation becomes permanent. Every traveler from a visa-exempt country heading to Europe will soon face a new digital checkpoint before even leaving home. Starting in the final quarter of 2026, the European Travel Information and Authorization System, known as ETIAS, becomes mandatory for short stays. The process is entirely online. Travelers must visit the official ETIAS portal or use the EU mobile app to start their application. The system asks for biographical details, including full name, date of birth, passport number, and contact information, and then moves to a series of security questions about health, employment, and travel history. Each application is linked directly to the passport. Most approvals are instant. Some may require extra screening, and that can take several days. A fee is charged for every application. It is estimated between €5 and €20 per person. Payment is required before processing begins. Once approved, the ETIAS authorization is valid for 3 years, or until the passport expires, whichever comes first. The authorization is checked automatically by airlines before boarding and again at the border. No ETIAS, no boarding pass. There is no paper alternative, and there is no way to apply at the airport or upon arrival. The digital approval is now as essential as the passport itself. Planning travel means planning this step first, building in time for approval and troubleshooting. For millions, the journey to Europe will now start with a screen, not a stamp. Arriving at the airport in 2026, the first step is timing. For travelers facing their first entry and exit system enrollment, adding an extra 10 to 15 minutes to your border crossing plan is no longer optional. It is essential. The initial biometric capture takes longer than a routine passport check, especially during peak travel hours or if you are unfamiliar with the process. Families and groups should expect to move individually through the kiosks. Each person, adults and children, completes their own face and fingerprint scans. The system requires scans of every finger, so clean hands and clear fingerprints can make a difference. Travelers with e-passports that have an embedded biometric chip often experience fewer issues at the kiosk. While older, machine-readable passports are still accepted, they may prompt extra verification or manual review. Keep your passport open to the identity page and ready for scanning. That speeds up the process. If you run into a technical problem, do not hesitate to flag a border officer early. Waiting can mean losing your place in line. Preparation and patience are now part of the essential travel checklist. Tomorrow's borders won't check stamps. They'll check you. In 2026, crossing continents means surrendering not just your passport, but your biometric identity to systems that never forget. As digital borders become the new normal, every traveler faces a choice: convenience or control. The world is watching how this experiment unfolds, because once the data is collected, the lines between freedom and surveillance may never look the same. What do you think? Are you ready for this new era?